We're going to be drilling holes into these metal studs, or metal cross beams, metal cross beams to fasten the solar panels to the roof. And when you drill these holes, metal shavings are going to drop down, and I didn't want metal shavings all in my mattresses. So pull the mattresses out of the way, and we're going to make a mess, drill some holes, and then it's on to the top where we start fastening it. The issue for me is that you've got to be pretty accurate on some of the measurements, and I'll try to show you how I measure things out. I got a lot of my ideas from the YouTube channel Enigmatic Nomadic, and I think the guy's name is Jamie. He's posted on some really cool ideas on mounting solar panels. Okay, so what I did last time was I laid out on the roof about where the cross members were. So I put lot marks, and they'll wash away. I'm not worried about them. But I wanted to see where my steel was that I was going to be able to attach the solar panels to. So the holes will come up through the beams, and the studs will stick up out of the roof for us to attach the solar panel. So I'm going to put 4 solar panels on here, and I got them all 4 up here the other day and laid them pretty close to where I was going to be. So here's one of the solar panels, and we'll attach it here and here and there and there. But it's got to lift up a little bit because of the curve of the roof. Not much, just a little bit. There'll be another solar panel attached here. Now when you're mounting these solar panels, watch out for the location of your cables. That's going to be important for the length of your wires later on. So all of my wires are going to be oriented towards this end so that we can drill one hole and all the wiring can go into one spot right above the box inside the trailer. Okay, this is why you don't drill from the top down. I marked the cross beam here by my measurements, and I was off. This is where the hole actually came out. So I know that that hole goes through 2 layers of steel and the top skin of whatever metal this is on the top. Right? So for accuracy, you need to be measuring and drilling from the bottom up. The location from the outside wall to here is a good location, but I would have completely missed that cross beam if I would have drilled from the top down. It's easier to drill from top down, but you stand the risk of missing the meat. All right, now I've got both of the holes drilled, and I would have missed both cross members. Now I'm going to lay down my panel and measure out for the other holes on the other side. So my panel is 3/4 inches from these holes on this side, and I want those holes to be 3/4 inches also. So from here to my hole is 22 inches. So I want to drill the holes 22 3/4 inches here and here. That's the plan, 22 3/4 inches. All right, so I come back inside. Here's my original hole that I just got through drilling, and I moved over here 22 3/4 and put a mark. And same thing on this cross beam. And so I'm ready to drill holes. Be sure you move your solar panel out of the way before you decide to drill a hole up in case you miss and hit your solar panel. That would be kind of an expensive mistake. And there we have it. 2 1/4-inch holes. What we're going to use is 1/4-inch, I think they're 5 inches long 1/4-inch carriage bolts, and they should go right up to the top. And there we go. They should go right up to the top, and then they will tape them to hold them in place, and we'll go up on top and tighten them down. Be sure to wear some sort of eye protection whenever you drill these holes. You're going to have metal shavings coming down into your face, and this is a real serious eye hazard, drilling above your head like this. So make sure you protect your eyes here, guys. All right, we pushed the carriage bolts up. I put a little bit of tape on them to hold them in place, and we will go outside and look at them where they're sticking up. As you can see, we've got one here, one there, one there, one there. They're about 3/4 inches away from the side of the panel. And when I'm through with the excess, we're going to cut it off. But before we do that, I'm going to put a nut here, seal this up with some butyl rubber and some Dicor, as suggested by other guys on the internet, on YouTube. Once I've got that tightened down, then I've got this much area here to use for a bracket to position the solar panel up or down and get it tightened down. What I have here is some 1/4-inch 20 stainless steel locking nuts. I got 4 of those, one for each stud, and I've got some 1/4-inch flat stainless steel washers and a variety of 7/16 wrenches and a pair of vice grips to hold the studs if I need to. I don't want to do that. Actually may not do that. I'm going to take some mineral spirits on a paper towel and wipe off the roof, because whatever sealer I put around these studs, I want it to have good clean metal to bond to, and this is a pretty nappy, dirty trailer top, and so we're going to clean it off really good, and then I will have a good clean surface to apply the Dicor to and the butyl rubber to seal. I'm hoping that I do a good enough job that leaks are not a problem in the future. That's the big thing. See, that's the thing, is I can't hold it with my fingertips, and I hate to clamp on it with vice grips because that messes the threads up. I'm going to lightly clamp on it with vice grips. Yeah, it's true. I'm going to have to tighten it up. I don't like it. If you clamp too tightly, you're going to really mess your threads up, and then the stud will be useless for what you're wanting to do. But we got to get this stop nut to go all the way down the length of that stud. Using a ratcheting wrench. A deep well socket won't work in this case because it's too tall. I'm going to put a piece of butyl rubber tape around the base of it as it tightens down to help seal it. And it will mash it down and make a big mess, but hopefully it will tighten it down and help it seal up. Okay, there you got the tightened up nut here. It's a nylon lock nut. It's sealed with the butyl rubber around it, and it's tight, and it's holding up the 1/4-20 stud for the bracket, and I can put some Dicor around this also to help seal it up. You're going to need 4 of these for every panel, so if you got 4 panels, you're looking at 16 holes in the roof that you've got to get sealed up and tight so you don't have water leaks. So here's the inside look of that carriage bolt, and it's tight and tightened up against on the outside, and hopefully it will provide a leak-free seal and a good anchor for the solar panel. So what we have here is 2.5-inch L bracket, steel L bracket. I have a flat washer between the bracket and the nut, and I have another flat washer on top of the bracket, and then I put another lock nut on it. But what I've got to do is cut the studs off now so that I can drill put a self-tapper into here. So I need that cut off, I need all 4 of them cut off, and then we can do the self-tappers. Now you can see that I've cut the studs off. I used an angle grinder with a thin wheel, ground them off, cut them off right there. Now the worry you have here is this is going to have sharp edges. Well, it's hot right after you cut it, that's for sure, but it's got sharp edges left over. That dude will cut you up if you put your fingers around it and you bump into it. So be careful around that dude. For our attachment, we got these snug down, they're not super tight. We're spacing these up 3/4 inches with some 3/4 inch plywood off of the top of the trailer. Now before I did that, I want to show you that I cut the wires loose from their shipping and zip tied them to the frame to the coming out towards the other panel so that the panels can be joined together. So you got to plan ahead on this before you get them all screwed in and bolted down. Okay, we're using some 3/4 inch, 10 by 3/4 inch self-tapping metal screws. I don't think I'm going to be able to do this, but I'll try. All right, so we got this one in and we've got this one in. Now we've got to get the other 2 in on the other side. And there you have the first panel mounted and the spacers removed. It's solid mount. I've got to put some die-core, like I said, over the bolt holes. I've got my wires hanging out, ready to hook up the panel that I'm going to put right here beside it. And we're ready to move on. This is the die-core that I've been talking about. It was recommended. This is Die-Core Products, lap sealant, self-leveling, and it's white, and it kind of goes on pretty thin, but it's made for RV top sealing. Sorry for the wind, guys. It got really windy today. I did get all 4 panels installed. I still have to do the final tightening on all 4 of them, but they are all on their brackets and all wrenched in, and I've got the wires all connected to their connectors, and I'm beginning installation of the wiring. Okay, now we got the wires all routed, so I've got some 10 gauge wire here. Red is hot, black is negative, or brown, whatever, and it goes through a weather head that is mounted into the ceiling of the trailer. And the wires come out of the ceiling and they're going to be fastened over here to the wall and probably run through some conduit, and they run into the box where they run into the box, and they come into the box, and the red is on a 40 amp breaker, resettable breaker. And then we have the solar controller, and so there's the 4 6-volt AGW 200 amp hour batteries, and then we have the remote monitor for the solar controller here that I'll mount on the wall. All of it's just getting roughed in right now, So next up would be to build all the cables and hook up all the batteries. And we still got to drill the hole and put in the shore power also.